Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you very much for joining this Friday Bhakti Vriksha program. Now we are going to hear melodious, wonderful kirtan from Kanchan Mataji and Mukunda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
You're on mute. We can't hear you.
It's unmuted. You're unmuted. Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji.
We can't hear her.
Can you hear me?
I can. Yeah, we can hear you, but not her.
The same device. I'll just do that.
Okay, I'm going to try to do one thing.
Can you put the microphone?
It's unmuted. Already unmuted.
No, we can't hear you again.
How is that now, Prabhu?
Yeah, now we can hear you clearly very much, but not.
Can you speak? Can you
No.
hear? No?
Can you come closer to the mic?
Yes. Will you use the
Closer
mic?
to mic. Okay. Pass me closer.
No, still not able to hear you.
No, no, no. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Kanchan Mata Jain Mukunda Prabhu ki jai. Wonderful Kirtan. Thank you very much.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. So, His Grace Ajit Krishna Prabhu is on the call.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Pranam, or Ganesh Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble basis of Ganesh Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Pranam, all the Prabhupada. Pranam, Prabhuji, or Ganesh Prabhupada. I actually just need to get my charger, Prabhu, really quick because I just realized it's very low on charge. So just give me 1 minute.
Yes, sure, Prabhu.
It's just, I think the reception is a little bit better on the computer. I mean, on the phone. We can just keep it that way. So, all right, Prabhuji. So maybe, well, it's been a few weeks. Last time we had left off, I think we were just about, we had done a few verses from chapter 6. Right. Does anybody remember where we were, which ones we had done?
I can share some points, Prabhu, if you are okay with.
Oh, I'm sorry, Prabhu.
I can share some points if you're okay. If you give me.
Yes, please go ahead, Prabhu. Please go ahead.
And Ramsham Prabhu also can add, and Kirti, the others can also add.
Yeah.
Sure. It's been 3 weeks. Last week we didn't do, and week before it was Amrendra Prabhu program.
Right.
Before that, we spoke about, actually you spoke about chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga. We went through text 3, 4, and 5.
Right.
So to begin with, actually you said how the Bhagavad Gita, 18 chapters are bifurcated. First 6 chapters, they deal about the material detachment. And then other 6 chapters, successive 6 chapters deal with the spiritual attachment. Also you gave a wonderful example, what Srila Prabhupada explained, like, the mind is like a glass of water. Glass can be half water. If we really want to have a milk, which is higher than water, then you have to pour out the water and then fill up with the milk.
Right.
If you want this milk, or the water is considered as a material aspect, so milk is considered as a spiritual aspect. So if you want spiritual aspect into our mind, into our life, then we have to throw away the material aspect, which is water. That is the example you gave. And then the last 6 chapter, it shows, Krishna explains how to attain this the mechanism, the whole the process, how to attain this spiritual enlightenment. That is what Krishna is going to speak about. So then when it came down to the text 3, actually in this Dhyana Yoga chapter itself, the Ashtanga Yoga is in detail explained. So you explained it very nicely. What are the different types of yoga? Ashtanga Yoga, 8-fold yoga system, which starts with Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dhyana, Samadhi. These are the 8. And each Anga you explained very nicely. Yama is basically do's and don'ts, and Niyama is how to observe these, austerities, and Asana is the yoga postures. Pranayama is basically the breath control. So ultimately it is for the spiritual enlightenment, not for the exercise purpose. And Pratyahara is how to withdraw the senses, and Dharana then how to concentrate on specific thing. Basically it's Krishna. And Dhyana is meditation, and Samadhi is complete absorption. So in Samadhi there is no duality. Basically you don't have whatever we speak in this material world, which is full of duality, right? Hot, heat and cold, happiness and distress. So those dualities are not there when it comes to Samadhi. So, and also Krishna explains this because he just wants us to make sure that we understand very clearly that this 8 process yoga whole process is very difficult in this material, in this yuga. So that is why Krishna is speaking about this. Not that we need to follow this, but yeah, this kind of yoga is very, very difficult. You also referred back to the Bhagavatam, where it says, Desayam yazdamakai, dwapare paricharyayam, kalautad hari kirtana. So this in this Kali Yuga, only Hari Kirtana is the best, perfect yoga system. So and specifically in chapter, in text 3, when it says that Yoga Rudasya, right? For a neophyte, one who is in neophyte in eightfold yoga system, the work is said to be the means because he is not perfect. Okay, for him, Karma Yoga is the best. And one who is already elevated in the yoga system, Arudasya means already elevated, already attained the yoga system. Then cessation of all material activities is said to be the means for attaining Krishna consciousness. So this is what explained in text 4 and also text 4. You also said that person should renounce all material desires. You need to work only for Krishna. So that is the main thing. And the importance of how mind can be controlled is emphasized. There's important words coming up also, and which says that if you control mind, mind can be your best friend. If you don't control your mind, then mind can be the worst enemy. Okay, that is the reason we fall down, because mind can only do two things. Mind can just hanker for something which we don't have, and it can lament what we have lost or what we don't get. So that is what. So if you don't control that kind of mind, we cannot advance in spirituality. If we let out our desires, only then we can advance. So that is where we left off, Prabhu, text 4, 5. Thank you very much.
Yeah, very nicely, Prabhu. So details you have summarized,
I heard only today. It's been 3 weeks, Prabhu. So we lost Ajit Krishna, Prabhu.
I'm just trying to get the computer also going.
Computer, you need not connect to Zoom, I think. On phone, you can have Zoom.
I think phone is better.
Yeah, phone is better.
Because computer is just, it's giving me a little more challenges than anything. So anyway. Yeah, so thank you so much for that, Prabhu. That was very, very comprehensive, detailed. Anybody else wanted to add a little bit to it? Yeah, Prabhuji, I see that I have noted, at the end you gave that analogy also. Apart from Mukta Sangha, Prabhu very nicely covered every points. And at the end it was like the control of the minds, right? So in the Dhyana Yoga, we are doing that this Ashtanga Yoga overall to control the mind. So to control the mind, you gave that chariot analogy as well. You had already given so many times earlier, but this was again you said like chariot analogy, where the horses are the 5 senses, and the strings and ropes are the mind, and charioteer, that is the intelligence, and passenger is the soul. So 5 senses, that is the sight, hear, smell, touch, and taste. So those are, and by knowing that, we have to practice on the how to control that mind. So that is very important. As this chapter, 6th chapter starts. Before that, in the 5th chapter also, only it was like the tortoise, how it, covers himself. So based upon that, this chapter was started. And you gave that example of the fish also, just being around of the egg, so they hatch that. So yeah, that's all I have to. So thank you so very much. So let's start moving forward. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. All right, so I think we'll move ahead. We'll do the invocation prayer and proceed from there. Om Gyan Tivandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshununitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sargana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sargana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurani Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatruvasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasani Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. All right, so
I forgot, today is Sri Advaita Acharya's appearance day.
Appearance day, also very, very significant day. So we probably spend a little bit of time. Definitely need to glorify Advaita Acharya. And actually, I was thinking about that in the beginning also. And then I said, okay, since we've decided to do Bhagavad Gita discussion, maybe we continue with that. But I think because it's a very special day, Advaita Acharya's appearance day, maybe it is best to glorify him, and then we can see if there's any time left, and we can probably do a little bit of Bhagavad Gita. What do you think, Prabhu?
That'll be perfect, Prabhu.
Yeah, that will be perfect.
Okay, then so let's do that. Shri Advaita Acharya Ji ki Jai. So there's one little verse that I wanted to recite. Okay, can you see me, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, we can.
Okay. So the verse is, it's a very simple verse. It says, Chaitanyera Das Muni, Chaitanyera Das Muni, Tanra Dasare Das, Tanra Dasera Das. So he says, I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya. He says, Chaitanyera Das Muni, I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya. Then Chaitanyera Das, I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya. Again, he says, Chaitanyera Das Muni, I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya. Tanara Dasera Das, and a servant of his servants. So it's a very sweet little verse that the Advaita Acharya has given us. So, going from there, I wanted to just continue further. So, Advaita Acharya, even though he says, I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya, and even though himself, Advaita Acharya is incarnation of Lord Vishnu, he says that still I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya's servant. So he's demonstrating a very, very humble mood. And in keeping with the desire of a Vaishnava as they say, Vaishnavas are para dukha dukhi, that from their own, on their own account, they have no lamentation or sadness or anything, because they are perfectly satisfied in the service of the Supreme Lord. But when they see other living entities who are suffering in this material world, they feel very sorry for them. And that's why they try to relieve the suffering of the living entities. And for that purpose only, these pure Vaishnavas appear on this planet, simply for the purpose of helping us advance further in spiritual life, so that we may be relieved of our miseries, our suffering that is a given in this material world. And so that's why they are referred to as para dukha dukhi. And Advaita Acharya demonstrated that very principle. But along with that, he's demonstrating that I am a servant of the servants of Lord Chaitanya. He's placing the servants of Lord Chaitanya on a very high pedestal, because the servants of Lord Chaitanya are Vaishnavas. And Advaita Acharya wants to constantly serve the Vaishnavas. So he says that by serving the servants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I will be able to please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu more. And Krishna also mentions in many places that service to him he appreciates, he reciprocates. But when somebody pleases his servants or his devotees, the Lord feels even more pleased. So that principle again, Advaita Acharya is emphasizing, where he says that I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya's servants, because he knows that by serving Mahaprabhu's servants, he'll be able to please Mahaprabhu even more. So that's kind of one of the takeaways that I was thinking about as I was contemplating this short little verse. And then, as we know, just going back to Advaita Acharya's contributions and significance, from our perspective, we know that he's the one who actually, when he saw that there was so much of suffering in this material world for the conditioned soul, he very sincerely and deeply prayed the Lord to kindly appear to relieve people of their sufferings. And in response to Advaita Acharya's prayers, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, or Krishna appeared, in the form of his own devotee as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, simply to reciprocate with the sincere desire of Sri Advaita Acharya. So Advaita Acharya, even though he was much older than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he always considered himself subordinate to Mahaprabhu. And there are many pastimes, many stories, one of which very significant, actually, Mahaprabhu's mother Sachi, she actually was at one point a little upset with Advaita Acharya, because she thought it was her thinking that it is because of Advaita Acharya that her older son, Vishwarup, left home and became a sannyasi. And so she was upset from that perspective, just as a mother would be. And so she was very, she used to feel that I don't want my other son also to go away from home under the influence of Advaita Acharya. And Mahaprabhu was not pleased with that feeling that Mother Sachi had in her heart. And so that's why he there is a pastime which you all may have or you may be familiar with, of course, where he actually did things in such a way where Advaita Acharya or Mother Sachi had to reconcile with Advaita Acharya for the pleasure of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And through that pastime, Mahaprabhu demonstrated that if somebody is not respectful to his devotee, which was Advaita Acharya, even though she was his mother, he was not pleased with her. So he set the example for us that a pure devotee of the Lord is deserving of all respect and all honor and glory from us. One minute, Prabhu. Can I just stop here for 1 second? I need to adjust my charger. It's not. Can you...
Sure, Prabhu.
Thank you. Sorry for that. Prabhu, just 1 second. I'm going to just. I'm just going to read one verse. This is just for offering obeisances to Advaita Acharya. If you know it, that's fine. Otherwise, if you don't, maybe we can recite it in a lead follow manner. So the verse is Nishtarita Sheya Janam Dayalum.
Nishtarita
Nishtarita Shesha.
Shesha.
Yes. Janam Dayalum.
Janam Dayalu.
Prem Amrita Budau. Prem Amrita Budau.
Prem Amrita Budhau.
Parimanga Chittasam.
Parimangasam.
Chaitanya Chandratram.
Chaitanya Chandratram.
Architam Tam.
Arjitam Tam.
Advaita Chandram.
Advaita Chandram.
Irasa Namami.
Rasamami.
So I'll just repeat it again. Like this was the very first time, so maybe it was a little difficult for everybody.
Is it Chaitanya Charitamritam, Prabhu? Which book is that?
This is I am not sure where it is from, but it is in a book that I have on the Panchatattva.
Is the book name?
The book is by Satyaraj Das, 5 Features of Panchatattva.
Oh, Shri Panchatattva, okay. It is not there on the Veda base then. No,
I don't think it is there on the Veda base.
no, it is not.
But it is a nice verse for offering obeisances to Advaita Acharya.
Mhm.
And it doesn't give me the reference for where it is from. So that's why I can't tell you where it's from.
Okay, no problem, Prabhu. I thought if it PDF is there, we can share.
Yeah. So maybe one more time we can recite.
Yes.
Nishtarita Shesha
Nishtarita Shesha.
Janam Dayalum
Janam
Janam
Dayalu.
Dayalu.
Prem Amritabdhau
Prem
Prem Amrita Bhau.
Parimanga Chittum
Parimanga Chittam.
Chaitanya Chandradritam
Chaitanya
Chandram.
Architam Tam
Arjitam Tam.
Advaita Chandram
Advaita Chandram.
Shirasa Namami.
Rasanamami.
So the translation is, I offer my obeisances unto the merciful Sri Advaita Chandra, whose heart is inundated by the ocean of prema. He delivers infinite numbers of devotees and is honored and worshipped by Sri Chaitanya Chandra. One more time. I offer, or maybe we can all repeat it for our own benefit and purification. I offer my obeisances
I
I
offer
Offer my obeisances
unto the merciful Sri Advaita Chandra,
unto the
unto the merciful
Sri
Sri
Advaita
Advaita Chandra,
whose heart is inundated
whose heart is
whose
inundated
heart is inundated
by the ocean of prema.
by the
by
ocean
the
of
ocean
prema.
of prema.
He delivers infinite numbers of devotees
He delivers infinite number of
devotees
devotees
and is honored
And he is
and
honored
honored
and worshipped
and
and worshipped
by Sri Chaitanya Chandra.
by
by Sri
by
Chaitanya.
Sri Chaitanya Chandra.
Jai Sri Advaita Acharya ki jai.
Chaitanya.
So Advaita Acharya, maybe we can just review a little bit of nice facts about him, a little bit of nice history. There are many references, and I'm just mentioning a few from this book that I have. And so there is a book called Advaita Prakash, which was written by one of the disciples of Advaita Acharya, whose name was Ishan Nagar. And so that text has various facts about Advaita Acharya's life. And there are also references to his life in the biographies and many of the other later books by our Vaishnava Acharyas. And so his mother's name was Naba Devi, and in some texts it is mentioned that her name was Labha Devi. So these two names have been given. And they say the story is that once she had a dream in which Lord Sadashiv, who is basically the original form of Lord Shiva. So Lord Sadashiv saw that this Kali Yuga was coming and it's going to destroy all good qualities. And so as her dream progressed, she saw Sadashiv become filled with compassion. And in this state, he decided to go to the shore of the causal ocean, where Mahavishnu lies in mystic slumber, and beseech the Lord for his mercy. So it's interesting. Here it says Lord Sadashiv went to the causal ocean and prayed to Mahavishnu. And realizing that Vishnu responds to the sacrifices of his devotees, he decided to perform severe austerities for 700 years. And then, seeing Sadashiv in this mood of compassion for the suffering masses, Lord Mahavishnu appeared to him and spoke, "My dear Sadashiv, why are you trying to please me with these difficult austerities? You and I are one." Mahavishnu said, "You and I are one. Why are you trying to please me?" And so Sadashiv said that, "My dear Lord, unless you empower me to save mankind in the age of Kali, how can I do it?" So then Mahavishnu embraced Sadashiv. And by their shared compassion, they took one form, and this manifestation would appear on earth as Sri Advaita Acharya. So this is one very interesting fact that I had kind of come across. So I just thought I'll share with you, because I used to wonder that why do they say that Advaita Acharya is combined form of Sadashiv and Vishnu. So this kind of explains it a little better and says that because both of them were filled with compassion, they took one combined compassionate form, that of Advaita Acharya. And then he appeared. So then the story continues that as Labha Devi's dream continued, she saw that Yamaraj, he approached the Lord and said, "My dear Lord, if you descend in the age of Kali as Advaita to deliver everyone, then there will be no more work for me. There will be no longer be sinners for me to punish in hell. So the Lord consoled Yamraj by saying, my dear Yamraj, do not worry. All those wicked people who purposely try to avoid the nectarian wave of divine love that will inundate the people of Kali, that is the impersonalists, the fruitive workers, the false logicians, the offenders, and the atheists, they will still be available to you to take to hell. And so with this assurance, Yamraj was satisfied and returned to his abode. So in other words, the Lord kind of said that even though there will be love of Godhead freely available in this age of Kali, there will still be so many people who will not take advantage of it. In fact, we are seeing how this is true. The majority of the people do not care for devotional service, do not care for the movement of do not care for the extreme mercy that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give us in the form of Krishna Prem. Like this, as we know the verse, Golokera Prem Dhan, Harinam Sankirtan. So the jewel of Golokera Prem Dhan, the love of God, which comes from Golokera Prem Dhan, that is achievable through Harinam Sankirtan. And Mahaprabhu came and gave us that process, but still there are so many people, the majority of the people, who will still not accept it. So this prophecy was made, and so Yamraj was consoled. And then they say after the dream, Advaita Acharya's mother planned her next day with great appreciation for the Lord and his mysterious ways. So this was just a little snippet of the many stories that are there. And I thought it was very nectarian because it shows us how Advaita Acharya's mother first foresaw what was coming, and how her own son would be the would be the combined incarnation of the compassion of Sadashiv and Mahavishnu. So before actually Advaita Acharya, his father, that is Kuver Pandit, and his mother, they had been blessed with 6 sons. And so the names are also given here is very nice. I'll read them out to you. Lakshmikant, Shrikant, Hariharanand, Sadashiv, Kushal, and Kirti Chandra. And they also had a daughter who was the incarnation of Ganga Devi, but she passed away at a young age. So of the 6 boys, 4 took sannyas. And the 2 remaining sons, elder brothers of Advaita Acharya, became householders, and the descendants are still living in present-day Bangladesh. So how fortunate are those people? Actually, I'd be curious to know. I'm sure they are still following in the footsteps of their forefathers. But they became householders, and so the whole lineage is there of those 2 brothers. But Kuver Pandit was very unhappy because his 4 sons had left home, and as a result, he left. He had a job as a courtly advisor to the king at that time, whose name was King Divyasimha. And so Kuver then went to his wife to Shantipur, and they spent their time performing austerities on the bank of the Ganges, because they said 4 of our sons have left for sannyas. And so they were saddened. Now, in Shantipur, Kuver Pandit performed Maun Vrat for some time. And at that time, that was the time when Labh Devi had that dream about their about Advaita Acharya's parents. So when she told Kuver Pandit about the dream, he became very happy. And soon after this incident, they had this child, and Advaita Acharya was born. So I just wanted to kind of share this little story of the appearance of Advaita Acharya, and how, some of the facts, like the dream that his mother had, what was going on in their family at that time, and how his father, Kuver Pandit, was saddened that 4 of his sons had gone, but now he was very pleased because the Lord himself had appeared to their home. as Advaita Acharya. So anyway, if somebody else at this point wants to share more, please go ahead. Otherwise, I'll just keep continuing with this.
Nice, Prabhuji.
The Advaita Acharya, actually, he prayed to Lord Vishnu with some Tulsi mantra, right?
Right. With Ganga Jal and Tulsi mantra for Lord Vishnu to appear, and then Lord Vishnu then appeared, of course, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
So that is one of the external reasons, right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came because of many internal
Correct.
reasons and external reasons, and this is one of the external reasons because Advaita Acharya called out, right?
Right.
Okay. And Advaita Acharya is at least 52 years older than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Right. And still, he basically considered himself a servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was old enough to not only be his father, but more or less grandfather age.
Yeah.
So
How is Advaita Acharya connected to Balramji? The Balram's expansion of expansion is Mahavishnu, and Mahavishnu is Advaita Acharya.
right. So
That is
Balramji, Balramji is the first expansion. Then from him come the four. Anirudh, Pradyumna, Narayan, and Shankarsan. And then from Shankarsan further, I think comes Sadashiv and those other expansions. So, they're all expansions of the Supreme Lord. So,
and he lived for 125 years in this world.
Advaita Acharya? 125. Okay, I didn't know about that.
Yes, I think he came in 1427 or something, 52 years before. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in 1486, right? Or 89?
Right. 89 or 86, something.
86.
86.
Advaita Acharya was born in like 1410, it says.
1410? Or no, 52 years before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is 1486, he should be 1432 or something. Or 38, 1438. And he lived for 125 years. Saujanya Mataji has her hand raised. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Hare Krishna Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
After a long gap.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, so for Advaita Gadadhar, Advaita Gadadhar. Advaita Acharya. I'm sorry, Prabhuji. Advaita Acharya. He mainly prayed, and that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. But then, are there any main highlights? What happened after that? How did he end his life, and then any famous main highlights, what happened when he was with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or when he took sannyas, like that? Anything you could say, Prabhuji?
Yeah, there are many stories and many highlights of Advaita Acharya and his pastime with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Is that what you were talking about, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Like later of the life, are there any main highlights? Because I may have heard, but I'm not able to remember as such.
Yeah, maybe. Well, there are so many of these, so I'm wondering which one to discuss. But basically, his lifetime in a nutshell, as Mukta Sangha Prabhu was saying, he was manifest for 125 years. And he says that is just like Sri Krishna. Now, but his life's Leela is divided into 5 phases. So, as in Krishna's Leela, Advaita manifested first of all 3 phases. That was Kumar, which is childhood, then Poganda, which was boyhood, and Kishore, which was youth. But Advaita Prabhu also displayed a 4th and a 5th stage, known as Yauvan, which is adulthood, and Vardhakya, or transcendental old age.
Yeah.
And he says, according to recognized acharyas, Advaita in his idealized form looks like an ever-fresh youth despite his old age. See, this is one thing you'll notice about Advaita Acharya's deity also, despite having white hair and everything, his look is very youthful. His look is very youthful. So that is his one of his special features. And reference to youthful and unbearded Advaita can also be found in Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj's commentary on Chaitanya Bhagavat in the Madhya Khand. So there are many interesting references. There's so much literature about all of this. Now, but Vaishnavacharyas have concluded that because Advaita was the senior Vaishnava of his time, some 50 years older than Mahaprabhu, he can properly be depicted with long white hair and beard in his manifest earthly pastimes. So they say the convention, why do we have the Panchatattva with Advaita Acharya displayed as an old man with gray beard and hair, is because of the age difference between him and Mahaprabhu. And even though Advaita Acharya is youthful, but he is depicted in that way to establish his age difference of 52 years between him and Mahaprabhu. So Advaita Acharya was basically, they say, the efficient cause of both Mahaprabhu's appearance and disappearance. So while his prayers brought Mahaprabhu to this planet, a point we have already touched upon. They say there was a poem that he wrote which said that rice is no longer needed in the marketplace because everyone has become mad like Mahaprabhu himself. And that led to Mahaprabhu's disappearance. So this is another interesting fact which I came across here. He says this was concealed because it basically bewildered everybody. You see this. So only Swarup Damodar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they say there's probably one more devotee, Jagadanand Pandit. They were the ones who brought this poem to Mahaprabhu from Advaita Acharya, and they were able to fully understand it. And basically the rice that is mentioned there is referred to Mahaprabhu himself. And since love of Godhead has spread sufficiently, the rice was no longer needed. And Advaita Acharya was in essence saying that Mahaprabhu had fulfilled his mission, had accomplished what he had intended to achieve. And since people were now intoxicated with love of God, Mahaprabhu no longer needed to stay on the planet to supply, they say, in quotes, rice in the marketplace, unquote. So in this way, Advaita Acharya Prabhu plays what in some ways may be considered the most important role in Mahaprabhu's pastimes. That is, he unveils the Lord's Leela for the conditioned souls, and then after completing his mission of love, he winds it up and sends it back to the spiritual world. So while we usually talk about Advaita Acharya performing these prayers to beg the Lord to appear, and the Lord then appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Advaita Acharya is also the reason, or he's the one who basically set the timing and mentioned to Mahaprabhu that, okay, now it was time for him to disappear. So that's it just shows you how intimately Mahaprabhu and Advaita Acharya are connected. That Mahaprabhu essentially took took Advaita Acharya's prayers and his advice and followed them. Because this is probably a lesser known fact about Advaita Acharya's significance, excuse me, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life.
I have never
Thank you, Prabhuji.
met Acharya Prabhu without beard.
Oh, you got a photo of that?
Yes, I think any photo you take is always with the beard.
Yeah,
It's easy to identify. In Panchatattva, I know many
yeah,
even knows about actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and Advaita Acharya. So it's all
right,
right side distance. Advaita Acharya is always with beard
right.
to identify.
So mainly what was Advaita Acharya was doing, Prabhuji, in that time?
In when, Mataji? What was the
When,
question?
when Mahaprabhu was there at that time, after he appeared, what was mainly he was doing, Advaita Acharya?
He was essentially, he accompanied Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. See, the Panch Tattva, all five of them were always together. And their pastimes were always, they were always with each other, performing the Sankirtan pastimes. Of course, Mahaprabhu instructed Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya also, and of course Srivas Thakur and Gadadhar Pandit, to go to different places and preach and spread the holy name, the glories of the holy name. But for the most part, they would be always together. That's why you see the Panchtattva, five of them together, performing Sankirtan. And a lot of that was performed in Srivas Thakur's house in the place known as Srivas Sangam. But
Thank you,
main
Prabhu.
pastime was that of preaching only.
And then when did he disappear? Before Mahaprabhu or after?
After him.
Oh, after him.
See, Mahaprabhu
Was
lived only for how many?
48 years.
48 years. And
Okay.
Advaita Acharya was born
125.
52 years before Mahaprabhu. So 52 plus 49, 8 is 90.
100.
But Advaita Acharya lived for 125 years. So it's 25 years after. Mathematics.
Right.
Also, Prabhuji, I had a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Like Advaita Acharya, he had many sons, but not all were devotees. Like we see that, lot of preachers for that matter, not only Advaita Acharya, but there are so many pastimes of others also where we hear that in their household, there will be somebody who will not be following. Is there a reason for that, or some kind of pastimes related that why some of his children were devotees and some were not?
No, actually, that's a very interesting observation, Mataji. I don't know if there is a shastric reason for that, or because even Prabhupada's children were similar. Not all of them took to the devotional line. I don't know, Mataji, if there's any reason mentioned in the Shastra that this is how it is going to be.
So one reason I heard, Prabhu, is that if they exhibit all the godly qualities, like God, so people really don't get into the mood of bhakti. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even though he's Krishna himself, if he keeps going, propagating around people saying that he is God, he is Krishna, then nobody would come to him. So he played a role of a devotee, a normal devotee. Similarly, Advaita Acharya also, he played a role of normal devotee. He didn't exhibit as though he's Lord Shiva or Lord Mahavishnu. He didn't exhibit. So normal devotee's life, whatever happens, happens. Okay, not that everybody should be on the same platform as Advaita Acharya.
So they basically, you're saying that they also led, or their lives had circumstances which are similar to those of normal devotees, so people can relate to them and say, yes, this
Yes,
is how.
exactly. So like Lord Ram, right? Lord Ram is
Right.
Supreme Personality himself, but he had to go through so many turbulences in his life. Why would he go through? Right? He is God himself. He could have one glance like this. He could have killed Ravana from where he is. He need not
Yeah.
go to Sri Lanka and kill Ravan. So he can do that, right? So then question may arise why he went all the way, took all the effort, take all the monkeys, and then go and fight. Lord Ram could have done with a snap of his fingers.
Right.
Do that because he came as a normal king in the dynasty, and then he tried to set an example that how difficult is anybody can go through with the circumstances. So similarly, it's the same logic here also.
Yeah. To set the example for ordinary people. Yad yad achariti shreshtas
Okay,
tad itare jana.
from
Common man will follow. Yeah. So they gave them, quote unquote, normal circumstances, where some children took to devotional service, some did not. So that we could relate to it as well.
Yeah, even for Lord Brahma, he is the first living entity for this universe, right? So the devotee, Narad Muni become devotee, and same time Daksha was so envious to the Lord Shiva. So I mean, he was not proper devotee. He was not a pure devotee. So yeah, that gives, like, even though some means demigods or even Lord incarnates here, so their descendants and all are not all did not follow. So to us, we can learn means even though those who are coming in this material world, so they have to go through all the human beings are going similarly, means bodily level, even though they are supreme. So because they have incarnated to teach us and to take back us back to Godhead.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
One thing, Prabhuji, I wanted to like if since Advaita pastimes going on apart from the appearance. So one incident was there, like Advaita took debt from someone, 300 rupees, and his servant repaid that debt. So something disputive is there, means he is the incarnation of the Mahavishnu, and he was so opulent, even though when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took birth. So his wife, Sita Thakurani, brought so much of the gift, like the ornaments and all kind of. So what was that incident, Prabhuji? I don't remember exactly. He took the depth of the 300 and 300
And
rupees,
it's
and servant or associate, his servant assistant repaired that. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu become, like agitated, like how you knew that, like he was having death. He's the incarnation of Mahavishnu. So he's having all the opulences of the world, and how he can be deaf. So can you please cover on, please?
I don't remember the full story about the 300 rupee debt. So I'll have to refresh my memory and then be able to tell you. Sorry. At this point, I don't remember that story.
Yeah.
I've heard it, but I don't recall what the details were.
Right. Maybe Mukta Sangha Prabhu? Yeah.
No, Prabhu, sorry, I don't recall.
Yeah.
I've never heard actually. This is the first time I'm hearing from you.
No, actually, what's the other Prabhu's class you attend on Sundays? Adi Gadadhar Prabhu. Yeah, one of his classes in Chaitanya, this one classes only, he has mentioned about it. I've heard, but I've forgotten too.
Yeah, I've come across this past time.
The whole chapter is there in Chaitanya Charitamritham, chapter 6. The whole chapter is dedicated to Advaita Acharya.
Maybe tonight we have to read before sleeping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that appearance and disappearance is the good, time that we can remember the devotee, pure devotees, and we can try following that. So, yeah.
So there are many pastimes. I was just flipping through this book. Very nice pastimes over with Acharya. But I think, how are we doing for time? Maybe it's getting close to. If anybody else wants to share any other realizations, thoughts.
If you are okay about narrating one of the pastimes, Prabhuji, it'll be nice to hear maybe.
Okay, Matan, sure. Let me pick one from here then. I mean, since these are all nectarian pastimes of Advaita Acharya. There is one very nice pastime about Advaita Acharya's meeting with Madhavendra Puri and how it's related to the Madan Mohan deity. Yeah, maybe we can. Yeah, I mean, that's a short enough one that maybe we can go through that one. So, one day Advaita Acharya, so it says one day Advaita Acharya was asleep under the banyan tree and the Madan Mohan deity appeared to him in a dream and said that I was being worshipped here. But the priest, because he was afraid of Muslim invaders, he left me and he fled to protect his own life. And so I am hidden as Dwadash Aditya Tila under the present flow of the Yamuna. So please unearth me and install me in my proper place. So after waking up from his sleep, Advaita Acharya found the site, he dug up the deity and he installed him with the help of some local Brajvasis. Then they performed the customary Abhishek and bathing ceremony. And at that time, Advaita Acharya, he rubbed the Madan Mohan deity's body so thoroughly that, he nicely massaged it, polished, and so that the deity then regained its original smooth, blackish complexion. Then some days later, when Advaita Prabhu was traveling, a group of Muslims came and they attacked Advaita Vat. That's where Advaita Acharya was staying. So the deity again hid himself under a heap of old sanctified flowers that were previously offered to the Lord and thus was not destroyed. So it's amazing how the Lord can do anything, and in his deity form, he hid himself. Then when Advaita Acharya returned, Madan Mohan again told him, again in a dream, that Madan Mohan said that I have hidden myself again. And then he again said to Advaita Prabhu to dig him up. And he gave him, and he said, and then after you take me out from where I'm hiding, you give me to a person by the name of Purushottam Chobe, and he will worship me. So this Purushottam Chobe was basically a Brahmin from Mathura. And then later, Purushottam Chaube then gave the Madan Mohan deities to Sanatan Goswami to serve. Because see, Sanatan Goswami, when we go to Vrindavan, we know that the first temple there that was built there by Sanatan Goswami was of Madan Mohan. So this is a very nice connection between Madan Mohan and how Madan Mohan was rescued twice by Advaita Acharya, then given to Purushottam Chaube. Then Purushottam Chaube then gave Madan Mohan deity to Sri Sanatan Goswami. So then the Lord told Advaita Prabhu that now he should return back to Shantipur in Bengal. And then he says, you installed two deities there. Two deities, one of Srimati Radharani and one of Madan Gopal. So one of Srimati Radharani, one of Madan Gopal. And he said that these deities should be carved according to a picture that was painted by Radharani's dear friend Shaka. And so Madan Mohan further informed Advaita that the picture was hidden in Seva Kunj and revealed its exact location. So this is the third time that Madan Mohan came to Advaita Acharya in a dream and gave him some instructions. So this third time, the instruction was in Seva Kunj. Seva Kunj is a place in Vrindavan. He said over there is a photo that is hidden or a painting that is hidden. Painting was made by Vishaka Devi. And that has got a painting of Radha and Krishna in the form of Radharani and Madan Gopal. And he says, so you find that painting and with that painting, you make the deities of Madan Gopal. So, and it was during this period that Madhavendra Puri came to Vrindavan and met Advaita Prabhu for the second time. And when Advaita Acharya told him about Madan Mohan's order, Madhavendra Puri was in deep ecstasy. And then he explained to Advaita that how can we worship Krishna without Radha? And so therefore, because Krishna can never be happy without Radharani, therefore Krishna feels incomplete without her presence. And that is why this instruction is being given so that the deity of Madan Gopal and Radharani both can be installed together. So this was just a very short pastime that I thought in the interest of time we'll share. That 3 times Madan Mohan deity appeared to Advaita Acharya in a dream and gave him these instructions. And the third time then Advaita Acharya mentioned the third pastime to Madhavendra Puri, who then helped with the installation of the Madan Gopal Radharani deities in Vrindavan. The second time when Advaita Acharya had this dream, he mentioned it to he gave the Madan Mohan deity to Sanatan Goswami. And so those deities are still there in the Radha Madan Mohan temple in Vrindavan, which came to Sanatan Goswami through Purushottam Chaube.
Nice project.
Very nice, Prabhuji. Yeah. So truly, the deities that we have now in Vrindavan, Madan Mohan and other, so that is actually the same deities then.
The same deities. Yeah.
Oh.
In Vrindavan, there are various temples, and each of the 6 Goswamis have deities there, and each one of them has this type of a nectarian pastime associated with it.
Yeah. 7 principal deities.
About 550 years back.
Gopal Bhatta Goswami's, there's a very nice pastime of how Shri Radha Raman appeared to him, and then the same deities are being worshipped today in Vrindavan in their temple. So maybe another day we can cover those pastimes, but this was very nice about Radha Madan Mohan, how they actually came through Advaita Acharya to Purushottam Chaube and from Purushottam Chaube to Sanatana Goswami.
Madan Mohan deity, the Sambandha, right? Yeah, Sambandha Vidya Prayojana. So first one. Yeah.
All right, Prabhuji, Mataji, any other thoughts, comments, questions?
Nice, Prabhu. It's very nice to discuss
Yeah.
last times.
Yeah, just an informal and, nice discussion of Advaita Acharya's glories, pastimes. Well, it's already 9:16. I think we'll stop here then, Prabhuji, Mataji. Thank you all so much for your wonderful sharing your thoughts and realizations. And
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Pranam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo,
Vaishnav Vrinda ki.
Shri Vaishnavini ki Jai, Shri Radha
Prabhu ki.
Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Acharya Appearance Day Mahotsav ki.
Ki Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.